Hey, good afternoon. I'm so glad you guys joined me. I see many of you have already jumped in the comments already, and we're going to rock and roll with operations management. This is a really interesting topic and one that I'm really glad that we're talking about today because many house cleaning companies fall apart when it comes to the operations management. So I'm going to invite you today to jump into the comment section and to ask your questions as you go. I know many of you sent in questions earlier, and so we're going to get to as many of those as possible, and we've weaved them in to today's discussion. I want to back up for a little bit, and I want to bring to your attention the fact and the thought, and I just want you to think about this for a minute. I don't want you to make a decision. I just want you to bring to your attention the thought and the fact that all of us operate off of a schedule. Now, when we are born, our parents put us on a schedule. They say, oh, I've got this tiny child that has to have a nap at a certain time, right? And so they cut out their activities and they change their afternoon plans so that they can get home and they can put their child in bed for a nap. After the nap and the child is a little bit older, they still have bedtime. And then maybe there's a playtime in the evening, but there's certainly a dinner time, and there's kind of a schedule that they put the child on in order for the child to behave on an optimal performance mode, if you will. Okay, that's cool. Then the kid starts to go to daycare. And what happens then is the parent has to get the child up early in the morning. So they're adding a little bit to the schedule where they're getting the child up early in the morning. They're making sure that they have breakfast. They've had their shower for the day. They're dressed. They get in the car. They go to the daycare. And then there's a whole series of things that happens after that. So from a very early age, like when we're infants, we learn how to operate off of a schedule. Then as we get older and we go to school, it's something very similar. We have a early morning, we got breakfast, we go to school, or we catch the school bus, or our parents take us and we sit in the carpool line, or whatever that looks like for each individual person. Then you go to school. After school, there's playtime, there's homework time, there's dinner time, there's more playtime, there's bath time, there's bedtime, and we live our lives on a schedule. And that goes through all of our formative years until we get to high school. And then it becomes a little bit less of a tight schedule from our parents, but more of a schedule that is then created with our peers. And so then we have after school practice, and we have games, and we have athletics and music and all the things that we do. All right. So our whole entire lives, we're trained to live off of a schedule. And then what's really interesting is it falls apart when we become adults because there's no one leaning over our shoulder saying you've got to be at school at a certain time. You have to eat at a certain time. You have to sleep at a certain time. You have to be at practice at a certain time. And for those of us that are business owners, we are in even more of an interesting situation where we create the schedule ourselves. And some of you are regularly doing fantastic. You know how to create a schedule, you know how to stick to it, you've got a lot of self-discipline, and so forth, right? And your businesses, that's showing up in your business because how we do one thing is how we do all things. Some of us are not so great. Some of us fell off the wagon once we left high school because then we started our own businesses and there's nobody to regulate our schedules. So today we're going to talk about operations management, and we're going to talk about scheduling our lives so that we can fit in ourselves and we can fit in our business. If we can do this, we can turn our business on autopilot, and on our worst days, we can still operate our businesses because everything will be flowing smoothly. Okay. And this is where a lot of house cleaning companies get into a trap because they wake up every day and there's no schedule. And so instead of saying, oh, every day at a certain time I get up and I exercise, every day at a certain time I go to work, every day at a certain time I do my customer service, that doesn't happen. What happens is they get up every day and they're making it up as they go. And then they get really overwhelmed and they get really frustrated because yesterday looks different from today and tomorrow looks different from today. And so what's happening is it's called decision fatigue. And so instead of you getting up and just running the system like we did when we were kids, we got up, our mom made us breakfast. At a certain time, we had to get dressed. Maybe we got ourselves dressed. We go out and we get in the car. She takes us to school, or dad takes us to school, or whatever that looks like, right? As adults, many of us are reinventing that wheel every single day. And so it's so exhausting at the end of the day because at any given point, we don't know what comes next. And because we don't know what comes next, we don't know if we're on the right track. We don't know if we're doing things the right way. We don't know if we're handling our business in the right way, and we start second guessing ourselves. And when we second guess ourselves, we lose confidence in ourselves. And then we start thinking, "Oh my goodness, am I really a good business owner?" And we start wondering if we're doing things the right way. We start wondering if the process that we're on is the one that's going to take us to the next plateau of mega money and mega customers, right? So if we don't have a system in place, if there's no automated process, every single day we're wasting a lot of time and energy trying to create something from scratch. And so I want to talk today about operations management. And I want to really start by having us pay attention to the fact that it is a definite program that you can create and you can manage and you can master. Okay, so that's our goal for today. At the end of this session, there are going to be probably 5 or 6, maybe 10 really great ideas. And I don't know what they are for you, but I want to say hi to everybody. I want to say hi to Cynthia. I want to say hi to Ruby. Hey, Ruby, how you doing? I want to say hi to Jordan. I want to say hi to Dennis. I'm so glad that all of you guys have joined us today. And I want you to ask your questions because I want us to be able to answer these, okay? I want to remind you guys that I've been in the cleaning business for 32 years. I started back in 1998 after a waitress in the restaurant that I worked at recommended that I come join her cleaning business. And she didn't have any systems at all. And I worked for her for one day, and she was one of the most disorganized people that I've ever met. But I made more money in one day than I made all week waiting tables. So I said, wait a second, I want to start a cleaning business. I didn't know anything about operations management. I did not know how to run a cleaning business. I did not know that there was a way to streamline all of your efforts. But I do believe in working smart, not hard. And that is something that I have believed my entire life. And so if you believe that too, you're on the right track. So like I said, we're going to cover 10 or 12 really great things today. I want you to write down 1 or 2 that you're going to practice immediately. I don't care which one it is because you're all at different phases of your business. But I want you to pick 1 or 2 and start doing it on a regular basis. And then you can come back and watch the video, watch the replay, and you can start implementing other ones as you go. Okay. But what we're going to do from scratch is we're going to create a system that will not fail you. It will still be true 10 years from now, 15 years, 30 years from now, if you follow the system. And I'm here to tell you that I'm still in the game. I'm still in the game because I have followed a system over and over and over and over again. It's really easy to get overwhelmed and it's easy to break the patterns if there are no patterns created, right? So I don't want you to reinvent every day. That's a waste of time and energy. Don't want you to do that. I want you to create a system for you that works for you, that works for your family, that works on the schedule that you're on. And you're going to have to make adaptations and adjustments as you go. Okay. So I want to say this right up front. There's not one schedule that's going to last the test of time. As things happen in your life, you're going to have to make some changes. And I say that because things will happen. If you have a child, for example, suddenly your schedule is like, whoa, it's a little bit different. That's okay. Make adaptations and let that be the exception, not the rule. As elder parents come into your life and you end up being a caregiver or something, your schedule will change. If you have a bratty teenager that needs 24/7 care or something, your life is going to change. And so you're going to have to flex a little bit with your schedule, but let that be the exception, not the norm. Okay. The very first thing I want you to do as we start talking about automation is I want you to automate you. What? Automate you? It's true. I want you to automate you. Remove all of the things from your personal life that are causing you stress and decision making that can be automated. Example. Every day I have a routine. There's nobody in the world that gets me out of bed in the morning. There's no place I have to be at a certain time. I have to make myself get up. So every morning at 4 o'clock, I make myself get out of bed and I make myself go to the gym and I do what's called an exercise meditation. And I recommend the same for you. On the way to the gym, and the gym opens at 5, on the way to the gym, I'm driving in my car, I'm listening to a podcast. And I like to listen to podcasts that awaken me, that give me positive ideas and set the mood for the day. And I will make a list if you guys want a list of my podcasts. And they vary from podcast to podcast. But I listen to really smart people that are way, way smarter than me, that can give me great business ideas and education. When I get to the gym, there's a little tiny window. It's about a 10-minute window where I have some socialization for the day. And I interact with the other members of the gym. Hi, how you doing? And it's kind of like that 60 seconds when we get to a customer's house and we get in, we make our comments, and then we get out again and we start our job. This is the same kind of thing. I jump into, and Ruby says she would love to know what podcasts. So I will add those to the replay so that you can have a list of the podcasts, because I listen to a whole bunch of them, and they, like I say, they change from minute to minute based on my interests of the day, but they're all business related and self-help related. During the morning window of socialization, I'm interacting with other people, and my goal is to meet one new person a day and to learn their name. So when I'm at the gym, if somebody new walks in, I'm like, hey, I'm Angela. And they're like, hey, I'm Karen or whatever. And I'm like, Karen, is that with a C or a K? And I get to know them a little bit. Do they have pets? Are they married? Where do they live? Kind of that thing. So there's a little bit of socialization, and then I go swimming. When I go swimming, that is my meditation exercise, or my exercise meditation. Now, a lot of people can sit there and they close their eyes and they're like, and they just meditate. I can't do that. I'm a busy person. I like to be active, but I also like to get my exercise in. So I kind of combined the two. And when I'm swimming, I don't listen to music. It's just me in the water swimming. Okay. So I'm doing some physical exercise and I'm working my core. I'm exercising my lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system is like your heart. It does not have a pump. The only way that it works, and this is what your whole immune system is based on, is movement. So you have to get out and you got to move every day. You got to ride bikes, you got to exercise, you got to go running, you got to swim, you got to do something. Okay. So before we talk about the business, let's talk about you. What are you doing in the morning to motivate and inspire you? Because you are the biggest asset of your business. Okay. During that 1 hour in the morning where I'm doing my swimming meditation, I'm thinking through all the things in my business that I need to tweak. So instead of just being frustrated and just having it kind of pile up on me and not letting me sleep at night, I sleep really soundly through the night, knowing that in the morning, there will be 1 hour carved out of the day that's all about me. This is my exercise. This is my morning meditation. It's my socialization. It gives me a chance to awaken my mind with new ideas and new thoughts through listening to podcasts on the way to and from the gym. When I get back to the locker room after my swim, then I go ahead and I get dressed for the day. And I've already removed the decision fatigue by wearing the same clothes every day. You've probably seen this shirt before. My hair's the same way. I've been doing this for 30 years. Okay. So I've removed all of the decision fatigue by repeating a process that works. So I get up, I get dressed, and then on my way back to my office for the day, I listen to another podcast, or I finish the podcast I was listening to. At 8 o'clock in the morning, my day starts. And I've already had my day. I've already taken care of myself. If I can take care of myself, I can then take care of everyone else. So the first automation that we're going to talk about today, and we already talked about it, the first one is you yourself. Okay. If you are taking care of you, you're now in a better position to take care of your independent contractors, your family, your employees, your customers, your prospects, and anything else that life throws at you. Okay. So I want you to automate you first. Okay, cool. All right. Do we have any questions on self-automation before we jump into the business automation? I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes because it is so incredibly important. It's as important today as it was 30 years ago. And I really stand by that. If you don't take care of yourself, you're going to burn out, you're going to blow out, you're not going to be fit for business. And you won't be here 5, 10, 15 years from now. You won't make it, maybe even another year. So that's really important. Ruby says, do you think it's important that it's first thing in the morning? It is for me. It is for me for this reason. If I wait and I try to do it after hours, I always find that I get caught up doing customer service or answering emails or interruptions of the day, or something happens and then I don't get my time in. And so I find that between like 5 and 8 in the morning, the world is asleep. No one is interrupting me. And this is true for many of the cleaning business owners that I've worked with over the years. And many of them have families, many of them have spouses. The kids have to go off to school. Da, 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 da. When the kids get home from school, it's chaos, just mad chaos for a lot of families. For a lot of cleaning business owners, if you have employees, at the end of the day, when people are bringing back their supplies and they've got customer complaints and you're trying to close out accounts to make sure you got paid for the day, you don't get the workout in. It's not, if you can do it, great. My suggestion is do whatever time of the day works for you. Okay. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I know for me and historically for the people that I've worked with, morning is the best time. It's kind of uninterrupted. It's kind of non-spoken, like, do not disturb me during this time. And there are other cleaning business owners. They know that if they try to reach me at like 5 a.m., I'm not available. I'm awake, but I'm not available. And every once in a while, I'll see one of them online and I might exchange a message or something, but it's very rare that I'm online, even during that time of the day. All right. So the next segment of what I want to bring to our attention, if that's the only question that we have, is I want to talk about what we are going to cover today. We're going to cover sweeps. And then we're going to talk about scheduling and booking. We're going to talk about business automations. We're going to talk about the intro to our CRM because of the importance of it. We're going to talk about balancing our workload and then inventory management. Now we're going to touch on inventory management. We're not going to go into it full time because that is our next session 2 weeks from today. So save that for inventory when we talk about all the things inventory related. We're going to touch on it real briefly because it is part of the automated system that we're going to create. All right, so the next thing that we're going to talk about are sweeps. Sweeps is one of my very favorite parts of the day or the week. And what you see here is a week sweep where we do our bookkeeping, and this can be done on a weekly basis. You do your payroll if you have employees or independent contractors. That too can be one weekly task. Inventory can be a weekly task. Your social media, if you do it correctly, can be a weekly task. It doesn't have to be a daily task if you use a schedule or automation software. But let's talk about sweeps for a minute. If I were to tell you, I were to ask you if you could go in and sweep the floor, you would know exactly what that is. You would go in and you would say it requires a broom, it requires a dustpan, and you would go in and you would sweep up all of the dust and you would bring everything together and you would put it in a dustpan and throw it away. By tidying up every day, what we know is this: the floor is going to get dirty again tomorrow. And so the sweeps are a little process where you go in and you sweep everything up. Okay. So in business, think of this as a little sweep. We're going to sweep through the different areas of our business. And we're going to do a little series of tasks. We're going to clean it up and send it on its way, knowing that tomorrow we're going to come back around and we're going to do the same things over and over again. So my question for you is, are your tasks on a weekly sweep or a daily sweep? Some of them are daily, some of them are weekly. So I just showed you a couple of things that were a weekly sweep. And so if I look at this as a weekly sweep might be a newsletter that I put together and I send out once a week. That's only something that I do once a week. And so that weekly sweep doesn't have to happen every day, but you could contribute to your newsletter every day with a simple addition or maybe a little daily blog or a little snippet that you add or maybe a motivational quote or something like that. Your marketing, we talked about marketing in a couple of other sessions. That could also be a weekly sweep. That doesn't have to be a daily sweep. But if you are to create a daily sweep, the daily sweep is going to be scheduling some time in your schedule to do a series of things every single day at the same time. Now, I want us to stop for just a second and remember the shower that we took this morning. We got to take a shower every single day. So whether you know it or not, you're already doing sweeps through your personal life. So the getting up in the morning, taking a shower, getting dressed, making breakfast, that's a sweep. Okay. So that's a sweep through your personal life. And for many people, it stops there. But if we transfer that over into our business, what is the very first thing that you do in the morning? Now, if you have an exercise program like the exercise meditation that I talked about, that's going to be an exercise or personal development sweep. So you sweep through the personal stuff, personal development sweep. Now it's 8 o'clock in the morning and you're going to start your business. What happens at 8 o'clock in the morning in your business? And I say 8 o'clock, maybe your business starts at 7. Maybe it starts at 9. I don't know what time it starts in your business, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. But find out what time in the morning your business starts and then start your business every single day at that same time. What happens for you and how do you keep track of it? Now, the reason that I bring up the sweeps is this. If you have a series of tasks, and this is like habit stacking, where you make a really good habit and you stack on top of it, what happens is everybody that comes into your business, whether it's employees, whether it's customers, whether it's independent contractors, whether it's a manager or a director of operations, what happens is that person starts learning your sweeps. And when they learn your sweeps, they know what time they're supposed to show up. They know exactly what time you're doing stuff, and they can kind of fall into alignment. But what happens is you are training them how your sweeps work. So if you're hiring people, and many of you don't realize this, but if you're hiring people, this is a really, really great training ground to teach them your sweeps. So they know when they get in the morning, what are they supposed to do? Have a cup of coffee, check the emails, respond to customer requests, look at their work orders for the day, grab their cleaning supplies, and be out the door in a certain amount of minutes. So they don't eat up your whole day with complaining and gossiping and trying to figure out what they're doing for the day, and they don't like a particular customer and they have whatever issues, right? You don't want to do that. You want to train them that there's a sweep program. They get in, they do A, B, C, D, and E. They grab their cleaning supplies. They go out and get in the car. You inspect their car, make sure that it's clean, it looks lovely, and is a good representation of your business. They're off and down the road and out they go. Okay. So that's a morning sweep where they do pick up and drop off. There's going to be a sweep in the afternoon where they drop off their stuff. It's going to also be a very short window of time. And you can do it just like a carpool lane at the school, where you drive in, you pick up your stuff, you say hello, you grab your stuff, and you're off without hanging around and catching up and all those things, because that wastes a lot of time for them and for you. And if they're not on the clock, you don't want to be paying them for time. If they are on the clock, you don't want to be paying for them for time that they're not actually working. You don't want them to waste hours of your day either. And that's also a trap that a lot of house cleaners get in because, like I say, after school, how everything falls apart because there's no schedule and nobody telling you how to do it. If there's not a really strict, tight schedule, everything falls apart and people will literally eat up hours of your day. Okay. And then it gets really stressful and frustrating because you didn't get done what you were supposed to do. And you're like, and you feel like you're managing everybody else's social calendar, but you get to decide what your sweeps are. Okay. So the first sweep that we're going to talk about in the business is, what do you do when you get to work at 8 o'clock in the morning? And I want to show you the process that I use. Now, there are a lot of automations and there are a lot of different ways to do this, but I found for me that the best way is Google Keep. And if you guys are using Google Keep, that's awesome. If you're not, I recommend I recommend highly that you do. It's absolutely free. Doesn't cost you a dime. Google is available to everyone. If you go to Google right now, if you're looking at a computer and you go to your Google screen, up in the top right-hand corner are some, it's a little keypad with 9 dots. If you click on that, you're looking for an app that looks like it's yellow with a little light bulb on it. And I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see what some of the sweeps are and how I use them. So as I share my screen, let me see if I can show you my sweeps. This is Google Keep. All right, so what we're looking at here is we're looking at a file. I'm going to see if I can actually show you a different sweep of the day. But this is the Google Keep file, and it's basically a glorified checklist. Okay. And so I will show you this because this is one that we're going to talk about later for the CRM, but this works. Okay. So what's really cool about this is you have the ability to write whatever you want. Up here it says customer information, but it could be check emails. The next one is contact details. And these are the different things that we're going to talk about for customers, but it could be post a social media post. The next one could be return customer emails. The next one could be return phone calls for people. And the reason that I like this particular checklist is because it's usable by anyone on your team. If I scroll down to the very bottom, it says collaborator. And right now I'm the only collaborator on here. But if I were to add someone, I just type in their email address and I hit save, and then it adds them to this email. So they can look at this exact same keep file from their phone, from their tablet, or from their desktop. And let me see if I have a keep file that I can show you that is different from this. Hang on. Google Keep. And I see that I'm not sharing with you. Let me see if I can share this tab with you instead. So if you go up to the yellow, I'm sorry, not the yellow, but the keypad up here. It's this yellow one right here, Keep. And then it lets you do a search. These are all the different Keep files that I have, and you can have as many as you want, and they are all for different things. You'll see that I use them for all different kinds of things. But I'm going to type in up here sweeps, because this is literally what we call them in our business. And this is one for turnover cleaning tips. And so you'll see that you can add a photo up here simply by going down here to the bottom where it says photos, and you can add an image. When you click on that, it allows you to add an image. And I'm going to close this for just a second. But this, you'll see that just by looking at the top here, it gives a quick glance as to the types of sweeps that are happening. And these are all different sweeps for our business. You'll see here at the bottom that there are people that are shared with these sweeps, and 2 or 3 people can be shared with sweeps, or a group can be shared. This is one where a group is shared. And so everybody in that group then has access to that file. And this is one, for example, these are sweeps. And let me go back for a second to the one that I was looking at here with the turnover cleaning tips. This is today's sweep, and this is for part of our business. But I see that Sally and Jennifer are working on this right now, and it has today's date on it. So they were going to do social media. They were going to make a Twitter post. They were going to check Twitter DMs. And you see how the different things on your day can be added to the sweeps. This is all when Jennifer and Sally get to work today. Now, how do Sally and Jennifer know who's doing what? The answer is they both have access to this keep file. So if I go down here to the collaborators, and it's the person with the plus, down here, all these people are sharing the same keep file, okay? So they're all logged in to this sweep. So if I'm the boss, I don't have to micromanage Jennifer and Sally. I can just look down here and I can scroll to the very bottom and I can say, hey, what's been done today? And I say, oh, look, they went to the Facebook group moderation, because both of them are moderators of that Facebook group. And there are different things that they've checked off every day, okay? So somebody's in there doing sweeps right now, but what happens is as soon as they click something off, and I'm going to click this, you'll see that they disappeared. But when I scroll down here, they appeared at the bottom. Now I'm going to uncheck those because actually I didn't do the work. I just checked them off so I could show you how that works. But what's interesting about this is when I uncheck these, they go back to the top of my list. And there they are right there, the things that I just checked off. So every day you can have the same list. So this is a sweeps list that we use every day. We're not reinventing new checklists every day. It's the same checklist. Okay, so this is a sweep through the business for social media. Well, what happens then is you can change this to be a different color. So let's say that all of my business related sweeps are green. And you'll see here that I have some that are pink. I have some that are blue. I have some that are yellow. I have some that are white. And so you can color code them based on who in your business is working on them. And so this is really awesome because all these different sweeps are done every single day in our business by different people. And you'll see that there are different people that are added to the bottoms of the list because we added them. Does that make sense? And do I have any questions on sweeps so far? I'm going to go back to this one for just a second. If I go to the 3 dots at the bottom of the keep file, I can remove myself or I can add a label. And the labels, if you see over here, there are different labels based on different things. So you might have a label for each customer, or you might have a label for each type of service that you have. So for example, let's say that you had one for maintenance clean, or you had one for deep cleaning, or you had one for refrigerator packages or mommy's helper packages. You could have different tags. Then when you do a search, this one is CCL guest. If I click on that, that one tab, it only pulls up the keep files for that particular thing, right? So the cool part about it is you can search really, really quickly by tagging and segmenting your keep files. So let's go back for a second to sweeps. And here's the sweep file that we were looking at. And I can change the color just by clicking on the color wheel and change it to any color I want. That's not the right color for this one. That will tweak people out because they're looking for something green. So I'll turn it back to green again. You can also add a different kind of background if you want something colorful, but that's not the point. The point is that you are literally, and how do I unclick that? There we go. The point is that you have a checklist that you can use every day. So when they get inside, they uncheck everything. You go to the three dots and you uncheck all the items. All the items just popped up again. And if I scroll down, there's nothing here. People have to start over again. Ah! But then they change the date to 8:01. And I changed that to 5:01. I meant to do 8:01. And then this becomes tomorrow's checklist. And so the same checklist can be used again and again and again and again based on how often you want to use it. So instead of reinventing the wheel, what we're going to do is we're going to use the exact same keep file for all of our sweeps. Do we have any questions whatsoever on sweeps and keep files? Because it's one of the quickest, fastest ways to automate our business if you're trying to keep track electronically. One of the things that we did a couple of years ago is we decided to go paperless because I was literally printing out a checklist and then crossing it off as I went and then Xeroxing copies of it and handing it out to members of my team, right? But what's cool about this is I have a checklist now and everybody that has access to it can open their phone or their tablet or their computer and they can see exactly where I am. And as a business owner, that reduces my stress. I don't have to text one of my employees and say, hey, did we get this done for the day? I don't need to even contact them because I can look at the keep file and I can see, did they get their stuff done? If they did, that's great. I don't need to micromanage them, right? So it reduces a lot of effort and a lot of frustration from me trying to run my business. Like, did you get this done? Did you get that done? Right. Another reason that we use the keep files, and this is a way to automate the inventory that we have. And we're going to talk about inventory later. But one of the ways we do inventory is, do you remember how I said you could add a picture by clicking on the picture icon? As an employee, let's say that I send Karen out to do a cleaning job. Before Karen leaves, in the last 60 seconds that she's at the customer's house, before she leaves, she can take her smartphone and she can take a picture of her cleaning caddy right there at the customer's door so that she can see what's inside. She can have a keep file of all of the inventory items. Do I have my glass cleaner? Do I have my Swiffer duster? Do I have my OXO deep cleaning brushes? Do I have my Dawn dish soap? Do I have my powdered cleanser? And she can see at a glance really quickly and just go check, 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 check. Whoa, wait a second. I forgot my glass cleaner. When's the last time I used it? Oh yeah, it's still in the upstairs bathroom. She can run, go get it right now without leaving it at the customer's house. Not only that, but she has a paper checklist in front of her that she's checked off that she's leaving with the customers. So she can take a picture of her checklist so that there's a copy of that and you can add that right to the keep file. Okay. So here's a keep file for this customer. Now, every customer has their own keep file and it's the same checklist for us. So I'm checking it off as I go and I'm taking the same cleaning supplies because when we do inventory, we're going to have the same cleaning supplies for that house based on what we promised the customer. So if Mrs. Haas gets Old English furniture polish in the walnut color, she might be the only customer we have that gets that walnut finish. Okay. But I want to make sure it's on my checklist and that it's in my caddy before I leave. I want to make sure it's in my caddy before I leave to go to her house. I want to make sure it's in the cleaning caddy before Karen comes back from that job. Because if it's not in there, we left it at the customer's house. So with a quick inventory process, that keep file then is sent to upper management so they can see exactly what we've run out of, what's in the cleaning caddy. I can see what the cleaning caddy looked like so I know she brought it home. And guess what? Because she's doing inventory, there's less likely of a chance that those cleaning supplies are going to go missing with cleaners that are moonlighting on the side, running their own cleaning businesses using your supplies. All right. Jonathan has a question, and this is a great question. He says, when you start a new day, do you create a new keep file and then store it in an old archived folder? You can do that. You can do that. But what I like to do is I like to, for a cleaning business, let's say that we've gone to the Fisher's house today and we have a list of things we're going to do. We have our regular checklist. The cleaner goes and they do their thing. They might leave me a note on the Fisher's Keep file that says, hey, one note, Mrs. Fisher is going out of town and she's going to be gone August 10th through August 31st. Just a note. Okay, great. That's a note that I can see right now. And if I'm the admin and I'm doing my sweeps on my end and I'm sitting there checking notes, I can add a note that Mrs. Fisher is going to be out of town for 20 days of the month. That gives us an opportunity. What's the chance that she's going to call and cancel her cleaning service? That's a chance for us to call her up and say, hey, Mrs. Fisher, we know you're leaving town for 20 days. We are super excited that you're going on your trip. This is a perfect time for us to be doing several of your deep cleaning packages or your special packages that don't require you to be at home. Is this a good time for us to come in and renovate your entire library or go through your linen closets or clean all the fronts of your cupboards or clean your garage or your attic or your 5 appliances? And you can upsell a lot of stuff that you can do when the customer's gone. And so instead of them canceling on you, that's when we double down, knowing that she's going to be out of town. She's probably going to want to cancel. Oh, I haven't been there in 3 weeks, right? So to answer Jonathan's question, do we do it at the end of every day? You can archive it or you can uncheck it, uncheck all the boxes, and then have them all go back up to the top and use that again. So for Mrs. Fisher, we're going to use that same checklist every week, every week, every week. And then if there's a note on there, I might leave that note until the cleaner goes back again, just to make sure that we addressed that issue. Because if the note is like, we ran out of Old English polish, well, that doesn't necessarily need to be left on there. But if the cleaner knew that, hey, we ran out of polish and that was their last note to me, I just might make a note to the side of that and not check it off. I just might make a note and say, hey, we've replaced this. You'll find a new bottle inside your cleaning caddy when you pick that up for the job. And that way we can leave notes back and forth with each other that are not shared with Mrs. Fisher. So there are lots of software that you can have a customer relationship management program. But if you're working free and you're just getting started in the business, this is a really great chance to start working free, but to streamline your operations. Now, I use a lot of software and I pay a lot of money for the software because it does different things. But I'm a really big fan, as you can see, still of the Google Keep. It's free. And what's cool about it is independent contractors can use them as well. So I can't guarantee an independent contractor, I can't tell them what to do. But I can share with them my keep file and say, hey, this is something that we're working on. These are the notes for the customer. So they don't have to be logged into my Jobber or my Service Autopilot or my House Call Pro or ZenMate or whatever software that you use. They don't have to have an account. They don't have all the information about your customer, but you can assign them a keep file where both of you are having conversations back and forth about the same customer. And I love to do it this way because everybody has access to Google. Everybody, pretty much. I mean, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. And so if somebody wants to have those notes, instead of them just telling you something and like let me make a note of that, and you try to write it down, or you try to make a text file in your computer or your phone or whatever, they're not going to go in the same place. But if you and your independent contractor are using the same keep file, both of you have the same email. What happens is this: if you have a customer with a running list of stuff, and I'm talking about stuff, their name, their dog's name, the alarm code or whatever it is, and that independent contractor can't do the job, they can add someone else to the keep file. Someone else can pick up that shift for them. They manage the changeover and all the information, and you don't have to do that. So you've outsourced all of those struggles and you've automated the process of making it easy for other people to work together. Okay. And this is true in my business as well. We have a lot of stuff that are on the keep files, and I literally separate them by, let me see if I can share my screen with you again. I literally share, I did not share my screen. Hang on. I got to click the share screen button first. Me and technology. All right, let's see here. Okay, here we go. I literally separate the sections by just this separator, just like that. So it might say Jennifer and then a separator, and then everything below belongs to Jennifer. And then the next one might be Rita and then a separator, and then everything below is for Rita. And it's really easy for anybody sharing that information to check their stuff off, add somebody to the list, and that person picks right up wherever the next stuff is. So if Jennifer jumped in and this was her file, this information here would be Jennifer's. And then when she's done, she adds Rita to the list. And because she's checked everything off, it goes to the bottom of the list. And then the next thing that pops up would be everything for Rita. Rita does her things. She adds the next person. It might be it might go back to Jennifer, or it might go to Sally, for example. And then once she adds that next email and she's checked all of her stuff off, at the bottom, when you scroll to the bottom, it shows everything that's been checked off down at the very bottom of the page. So if I'm the one that has to see that keep file at the end of the day, I go to the bottom of the page and I look at all the stuff that's been checked off, and I look at all the people that have been assigned to it. And I know that if I have to jump in, I know who the last person was that was in that list. You'll see over here in the bottom right-hand corner where it says edited at 12:37 p.m. It also tells me who the last person was that edited that file. So if somebody said, oh, I never saw the file, but it was edited at a certain period of time, and their name or their connection is to it, we know exactly who edited it last. Okay. So it's a really great way to keep your business running smoothly by knowing who's doing what and how they're doing it and where you are in the process. So those are sweeps. And if you template every section of your business, and I really recommend that you do this in terms of what is today. Today is Wednesday. And so let's say that on Wednesday, you do all of your social media packs for the week. That's great. Put that in as part of a sweeps that you do on Wednesday. And you might have 1 hour of your day allocated to sweeps. The following day at the exact same time, you might have a different series of sweeps. And that might be where you do your bookkeeping for the week. And then the following day at the exact same window. Remember, we're talking about automating you. Instead of trying to do everything every day, which is just exhausting, if you'll schedule it, and just like a customer, where you say, well, this customer doesn't come back for 2 weeks. So you put them on a schedule. Just do the exact same thing. What is this task in my business? Instead of me doing social media 5 times a day, can I do it once a day? Can I do it every morning at 9:15 a.m.? And if that's 9:15 to 10:45 or whatever the time is that you've allocated, that's the window that you do that. And if that's not possible for you, can you sit down and create 20 posts in 10 minutes or something? And I have in our replay notes a video on how to do just that. One of the softwares that we use at Savvy Cleaner, and I point to me because I use it as well, is Canva. We use Canva and PicMonkey. And I want to jump over here to social media for just a second, because you'll see that our sweeps is set up as weekly. And so by using Canva and by using PicMonkey and then a scheduler is something like Social Pilot or Hootsuite or Social Jukebox or whatever. This is one of the automated softwares that we use. And by having the software, what we can do is create a post like through Canva, and the video that I will leave in the replay notes shows you how to use an Excel spreadsheet. And then you import all of the things from your Excel spreadsheet into a template that Canva provides for you. And then you create a whole bunch. It just automatically makes you like 40 posts, and you go in and you tweak the colors or whatever. And we've talked about this in our branding session, where you click one button on Canva and it changes the whole brand. For example, this particular slide that you're looking at was actually pink and blue and white. And I clicked on the branding button and it immediately turned it to my brand colors. which is the blue and the green and the gray and the white. And so when I click on the next screen, I also clicked on the branding button again, and it tweaked it. It did the automatic shuffle and it changed it to be slightly different, but still with my branding colors. So you can do that with a whole series of posts. And let's say that you make 26 posts. And we'll go to the next slide, which I think is, no, it's not, social media. We'll jump ahead to the social media post for a second. The social media posts, we talked about this in another training when we talked about digital media. If we make 14 packs of different things, and we do them 26 posts in a pack, and we post one every 2 weeks, that will be 364 days of content. And so in the notes that I'm going to leave you today, I'm going to leave with you a link on how to create 200 posts in 10 minutes. And by using the automation that Canva has, Canva's a piece of software, and there's a free version and then there's a paid version. The paid version, I believe, is, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's something like $12 or $15 a month. For $12 or $15 a month to be able to create 200 posts in 10 minutes, totally worth it. And also it allows you to have different file folders. So I can create a file folder for before and after pictures. I can create another one for cleaning tips. I can create another one for testimonials. I can create another one for explanations of funny words that we use in the cleaning business, like a maintenance clean. Many people might know that as a basic clean or a regular clean. And when we say it's a maintenance clean, it's not basic. We don't want to call it basic because it's not basic. We're doing a regular maintenance clean, but it's also not a deep clean. And so we want to call it a maintenance clean because we're assuming the house is already clean. We're going to maintain that with a series of tasks that we do. The mommy's helper package, that might be a funny thing. And what does that mean? And so you might have a little explanation of what that is. And that's one type of post. And so the cool thing is you can have all of your different types of posts in there. And if you have an employee or an independent contractor that you've promised work to, but then something happened and you weren't able to deliver it, or you had a cancellation, you can put them in charge of creating those posts and they can drop them in the proper file. You can also outsource the scheduling of those posts once those are inside the file to somebody that uses a program like Hootsuite or Social Jukebox or any of the others, right? We use Social Pilot, I believe. And the reason being is it allows us to connect all of our different accounts. So Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook and X or Twitter or whatever it is, also Google Plus. It allows for Facebook groups, Facebook pages. It allows us to post anywhere. And so once that post is created, instead of me trying to upload something on all the different social medias, I can have one person that has a cancellation or something to sit down and to schedule way into the future. And so if they have a 3-hour window where they're not doing anything, oh my goodness, they can schedule your existing posts all the way out into November, October, November, December, January of the end of this year, next year, whatever. And so if you have certain posts like, hey, this is the time of year where we're selling Thanksgiving packages, they can schedule that right now so that you start selling that in August, September, way before you get to November. By the time November comes and people are like, oh, we're going to be out of town for Thanksgiving, you've already booked up your entire schedule with those cleanup packages. You've already automated all of that. And so when we talk about social media, we're not talking about sitting there just racking your brain like, what am I going to post for today? I'm not talking about that. We're talking about creating 14 packs that have 26 posts in each pack. And that one pack, even if you only have one pack, but you post every other Monday, you're going to have a wide variety of different social medias that pop up on a regular basis. One's going to be a poll, and that poll won't come back for another 14 days. And then it will be a different poll of a different sort. And if you do a before and after picture, it's not going to be a before and after picture every single day, which is exhausting. It's going to be one before and after picture every 14 days on your different social media. Does that make sense? So we want to automate the social media so that we're not sitting there, scrambling like, I got to post something. I got to stay active. I got to keep the algorithm alive. We don't want that stress when we only have a very limited amount of time. And if you only have 1 hour a day that you can focus on your business by doing sweeps and by categorizing your sweeps and saying, every Wednesday we do social media, it's not going to come around for a whole entire week. And then next week you spend 20 minutes and you do social media creation, and you do 20 minutes on scheduling the social media, and you do 20 minutes on answering and responding to the social media, and that's it. And you might have social media sweeps that pop up during the day in a different category. So for example, at Savvy Cleaner, we have several different Facebook groups. And so we have different people that are in charge of the Facebook groups. And we have different admins that jump in during the day to answer your questions. And so there might be somebody that's on a 6 a.m. sweep and they do 5 things and then they jump out again. There's another person that jumps in, completely different person that jumps in at 9 a.m. They do the same 5 things and they get out. Then the next person jumps in at noon and they do the same 5 things and they get out. The next person jumps in at 3 p.m. So we're at 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12 around the clock. And what that does is that allows people to jump in and do the same 5 things and answer the questions and monitor the groups and then get out and then go do what the rest of whatever their sweeps say they're supposed to do. And so you can do something very similar in your business where you may not have a whole bunch of different Facebook groups, but you may have a series of tasks. So you might at 3 o'clock jump in and do a Twitter, and you might jump in then at noon and do a Facebook post. And then at 6 p.m., you might do a TikTok post or something. So if you want to, you can jump in throughout the day, or you might just jump in and answer 2 or 3 questions and then get out. And that way you're still active. The algorithm is still alive, but you literally spent 2 to 5 minutes. Does that make sense? All right. Do we have any questions at all about the sweeps for social media? Because what we're going to start to do is we're going to start to automate the process we're doing by having a little file that we just follow. It's just like a little checklist. We follow the little checklist, boom, 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 check it off. We're done. And then we go to the next thing. And we're going to do that throughout our entire day with different areas of our business. Any questions at all on the sweeps before we move on from social media? Okay, moving on then. I jumped over this real quick. I want to talk about scheduling software. The scheduling software is really important because many people are making it up as they go. Some people have scheduling software but are not really maximizing the benefits of all of it. The purpose of the scheduling software is to reduce the decisions that you have to make on a regular basis. And there are many, many, many really great softwares that I recommend. Savvy Cleaner has put together a list. Some of them are partners of Savvy Cleaner. Some of them are just really cool that we recommend that I want you to take a look at. If you don't have a software that you're using, please consider using one. It allows you to do a whole bunch of different things, and we're going to go over them really quickly. The first one that we're going to take a look at is Jobber. And let's see if I share my screen with you. How do I share that screen with you? Hang on one second. I can see it on my schedule or on my computer, but you can't see it where you are. I have to do something different here. So share my screen and then look at Jobber and share. Okay, it's little. Hang on one second. Let me make that big. Okay. All right. So what we're looking at here when we look at Jobber is we're looking at the different things that are set up for a cleaning business. And Jobber specializes in different service businesses. So landscapers and tree cutters and window cleaners and carpet cleaners and house cleaners and all the things. But they're very specific about what they have for you. And most of the programs that we have connected to you, and I just left the link in the sidebar, many of them have a free trial. And so if you have a minute, take some time and look through the different programs if you don't already have a software. Now, many of these start at about $50 a month. And the reason that I say $50 a month is a steal of a deal is because if you were to pay somebody to do the things that these do for you, that admin would be $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And so if you have a piece of software that costs you $50, That's fantastic. That's a heck of a deal. Okay. So start thinking in terms of how much money is this going to save you? All right. So Jobber allows you to create a quote. And I don't know about you guys, but I love to do the quotes on the walkthrough. I love to do them in real time. And so if you create the quote and you're using Jobber, you can do it right now in real time. And you can send it to the customer before they leave. If they have to think about it, it's already done. When you leave, it's already done. And so you don't go home and spend hours putting together a quote and putting together a proposal for them. They take a look at it and they say yes, and they click on it, and it's approved immediately. It's awesome. It also allows you to create a schedule. And when the job is done, it allows you to then mark that the job is complete. They can approve it right there online, close it out within 24 hours, and you get paid. So if you're not doing a program where you're billing in advance or where you're setting them up on a monthly program, and it's like a one-off, for example, some people like to have a proposal. Some people like to click off that, oh yes, the job is done and I authorized it and now you get paid. That's possible all through Jobber. What's also easy about Jobber is there's a client hub where they have their own portal and they can update their own information. They can also change their email address. They can change their phone number. If they have to change their schedule, they have to make a cancellation. That's something that they can do right there online, which reduces your admin tasks because they're not texting you and then you jumping in to try to update the information and you doing all that yourself. So anytime we give the power to the client gets to do, and I'm looking at the client hub here, the client gets to do that themselves. And that way it reduces the tasks that you're doing. It's like going to the self-checkout at the grocery store, where instead of hiring somebody to stand there and scan your groceries and put them in a bag, you scan your own groceries and put it in a bag, and they just eliminated a person, right? So this eliminates the person, and the person is you. So you're not the person that has to sit there and update all the client information. It's just that it's live in real time. And I said we would talk about a CRM. The CRM is literally the customer relationship management, which is you. Okay. It's you keeping track of all the customer details. And we looked at the keep file a minute ago, and the keep file details that we want to keep track of, and we'll go over that again in a minute, are all of the stuff that's inside your CRM. One of the things that I want to draw attention to is when you have a CRM and all the different softwares that I'm showing you and that are on that list are a customer relationship management database. So when you get a new customer and they call you and they say, hey, can you give me a price quote? That is the minute their file in the CRM starts. Okay. So somebody calls and they say, hey, I want to get a price quote. Sure. Remind me of your name. My name is Jennifer Woodsy. Okay, great. Jennifer Woodsy. That information is when you start tracking, because you want to note, what is her name? Where does she live? How many bathrooms does she have? How many bedrooms? Does she have pets? Does she have kids? Who's living in the house with her? Is it a husband? Is it a sister-in-law? Is it a parent-in-law? What is the situation of her house? On a clutter scale, 1 to 10, how cluttered is her house? Can she do a walkthrough with me in person, or do I have to do it via Zoom? All of those things are being tracked in that first conversation. And I will know before I get off the phone whether or not we're even a good fit for each other. And if she can do a live walkthrough on the phone with me, awesome, let's do it right now. If I need to schedule one, I need to drop by her neighborhood in 10, 15 minutes from now, I can do that as well. Okay. But I want to start tracking all of that stuff because I'm going to tag Jennifer in what I'm doing. And if you're unfamiliar with tags, this is the beauty of the customer relationship management software. All of the different programs that I'm going to show you allow you to do this. We're going to tag and segment our customer base, because if Jennifer lives in Bradbury Loop, she's going to go on a certain day of the calendar. When I go to bid her job, or when I go to give her a walkthrough, there are only certain days that I'm in the Bradbury Loop. And if I'm working solo, I'm not going to offer her any other days, because I'm not going to be in that neighborhood, and I don't want to commute back and forth between neighborhoods because it eats up commute time. So if I get a call, and if I can qualify Jennifer on that call, I can find out immediately, is she in my my area that I work. And if she's 30 minutes away, I'm going to end the call right now. I'm going to say, "Hey, thank you so much for considering me for your cleaning, but we don't even work in that area. I appreciate it. Goodbye." But if I'm growing my business and I have 5, 6, 10, 12, 15 employees, or if I'm working with independent contractors, I can dispatch that job to someone else. And so by having a software like Jobber, it allows you to dispatch jobs based on zones. Okay. So we'll go back for just a second to the Jobber screen, and I'll show you what we have here. We have online booking as well as the client hub. And so if all of my services are listed, what I can do is I can say, "Oh, look at my online booking. I have mommy's helper packages available. I have a Thanksgiving package that's available. I have a Labor Day package that's available. We have a 5 appliance package that's available. We have garage cleaning available. We've got maintenance cleaning. We have deep cleaning, whatever." Okay. You can list all of your services and the clients can pick and choose which ones pertain to them. So that's really awesome. And that's inside the Jobber app. So I love that for this reason. You can also create quotes. You can have convenient payment methods. One of the things about the scheduling softwares that are available, and if you're not using one, I really recommend you guys pick one. They're all good. Many of them have slightly different features, but they're all pretty good. They all offer online payments. And so if a customer does not want to give you the credit card, that's fine. Actually, we don't want their credit card information anyway. We don't want to be responsible for the security of it. But if we're using a program like Jobber, it goes to something like PayPal where there's a firewall. The customer pays, they're the ones that are in charge of their information. It goes through like PayPal. PayPal has another firewall before it gets to Jobber. When the customer hits pay, it goes through that thing and you get paid. And you never did know their information. Okay. You never did know it. You can return the money. You can hit reply and it goes back through the chain of command, but you never did have their credit card information. So you get paid, you accept credit cards, you pay a percentage, which is around 3%. That's kind of standard in the industry. Once you automate that, you never go bill collecting again. The Jobber, and I say Jobber because we're looking at Jobber right now, but Jobber or Brilliant or ZenMaid or Service Autopilot, any of the programs, they collect the money for you. And so oftentimes that money is in escrow already. And if it's not in escrow, when you send them the invoice, they say, yes, the job was done and they get paid. Part of our daily sweeps is we want to close out all of our jobs at the end of the day. And that means we got paid, our employees or our independent contractors get paid. And for those of you that have automated that system into a paid by performance, like they only get paid when their job is done, then at the end of the day, when you close that out and that's part of your evening sweeps, boom, the money goes into the account, they get paid, everybody wins. And I say, they get paid. Maybe you don't pay them at the end of the day. Maybe you pay them once a week. A savvy cleaner, part of my Sunday sweeps is I do accounting every week on Sunday. It's part of my Sunday sweeps. And every job is turned in. Every job is closed out. Every job is finished and finalized by Sunday at 6 p.m. if everybody's going to get paid by Monday. Because on Monday, that goes to payroll. And part of the sweeps on Monday for somebody is payroll. Okay. And we use QuickBooks, which is another automated program. And the QuickBooks then allows us to process everything that was already cleared on the Sunday sweeps. So it all works together and it's all a really seamless program that then you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. I don't have to say, hey, wait a second. Do I pay so-and-so this week and should I write them a check? Never again. It's all direct deposit. And when I type in that information and I click, yes, this is cleared, it's already cleared through QuickBooks. It's already cleared. And Jobber is integrated with like 300 apps. And so it allows, if you're using QuickBooks, for example, it allows you just to say yes, and the money goes directly to your account. There's no writing checks. There's no depositing checks. It's all automated. Boom, you're done. All right. So there are a whole bunch of different features, and this one does have integrated with QuickBooks. It also integrates with MailChimp. We did not talk about MailChimp today, but MailChimp is, and I believe we talked in another class about doing email marketing. So the email marketing is also integrated with your Jobber. And so you can you can set up campaigns, and a campaign is nothing more than an email that goes out, but it goes out on a regular basis. So, for example, when we talk about, for example, setting up a campaign through your CRM, it has all of your customers tagged. And do you remember how we talked about tagging customers or segmenting them? For example, I said Jennifer lives on Bradbury Loop. Let's say, for example, that I have a cancellation on Bradbury Loop. I can go into my CRM and I can say, hey, I want to contact all the customers that live on Bradbury Loop that we've ever done business for. Maybe we only have 3 customers that are active right now on Bradbury Loop, but we just had a cancellation. One of the 3 canceled, and I have an opening. So now I'm going to send out an email only to Bradbury Loop and say, hey, we're in your neighborhood today. Would any of you that once hired us like a one-time cleaning? Or we're doing a special package for a customer on Bradbury Loop. We'd like to offer the same package to anyone else on Bradbury Loop at the same price. And it might be like, I don't know, maybe a mailbox cleaning or something. I don't know what it is, but you can offer something specific to that neighborhood. That way, if you're sending somebody out, if there's a cancellation, they stay in the same neighborhood, they take that slot. When they're done, they've got another cleaning still in that same neighborhood. Nobody had to miss the commute, right? Nobody had to travel all over. Nobody was dead for 3 hours with no income. So that's a really great reason that you want to have integrations. Okay, so, and that just sucks in all the different people that live on that address. You do a quick search for who lives on Bradbury Loop, boom, that email goes out. So it's a really great way to work. It integrates with all these different places, Zapier, Stripe, whatever. So I recommend that you just take a couple of moments, take a look at the free different resources that are available. Brilliant is another one. And I'm going to share, I've got to share differently here. Hang on. Present, share screen. And this is Brilliant. We've talked about Brilliant before. Brilliant is a pretty good one. I really like Brilliant for the fact that it also has a customer portal. And every time the customer can enter their information instead of me entering their information, it saves an enormous amount of time. What's also cool about this is they can also book their own jobs. They can cancel jobs. They can reschedule their jobs, all within the customer dashboard. So that makes it really, really awesome. Brilliant is a little bit different from the other programs that I mentioned in that Brilliant has a one-time setup fee to allow you to create your own app. So instead of it saying Brilliant, it says the name of your company. It has your company branding, your company logo, and it's a little app that is exclusive to your customers that they can sign up for, and it's on their phone with your logo and your icon and everything. When they log in, they think they're logging into your business. So it allows them the entire customer experience, the entire dashboard. Instead of you trying to reinvent the wheel and set all of this stuff up on your website, you literally pay a one-time fee. I think it's $500. And they will set up this app for you, and your customer can do all the stuff on your website without you having to know coding and all that stuff. There is a monthly fee, and I think the monthly fee starts at $30, and you pay by the year. It's a reduced price. I think they've got like an annual setup thing. But the features that they have is just amazing because you can color code all of your scheduling just like you would on Google Calendar, for example. And so you can see at a glance who's doing what jobs. It also allows you to pick a crew. So let's say that you're working with teams. I know some of you are working with independent contractors. So you can send them out in crews. The way that you pay your team is also a really great way for you to, and I should make this big so you guys can see it. Less of me, more of the screen. There you go. One of the things that's really exciting about this is, let's say that you have a job where you send 3 people out, and you send an employee, and then you send 2 independent contractors. The independent contractors are paid at a different rate than your employee. You can bust it up inside this app by saying this particular employee gets this much money, the independent contractors get this much money, and there's a bonus that goes to one of these people because one of them is training the employee, for example. And so you can bust it up based on commission, based on hourly, based on job. It's all right there inside the app. Another thing is you can also do pay for performance in here. If the crew members get ratings and reviews, you can pay more money based on how many reviews they got. So there are different ways to incentivize the people that you're working with. There are payment links where you can send a link to the customer clicks on the link, it opens up, they can send you payment directly that way. Your services are also set up just like they were in Jobber, where you say, this is a special package that we have, and people can pick and choose the services. You can highlight the services based on the client. You can also segment them for the CRM. Like I just mentioned, Jennifer lives on Bradbury Loop. You can also segment customers based on different tags. Like, this is a customer that always has the Christmas decorating cleanup package. And so that way you can do a search by who of our regular customers buys this package from us. You just do a quick search, send out a quick email and say, hey, by the way, we're doing this package again. Anybody want to sign up for it right now because we've got 12 slots left. When they're gone, they're gone. And if you're working solo, this is a really great way to book that Christmas time that is typically slow for a lot of people when customers cancel. And so you want to make sure that if you are offering discount codes, for example, this allows you to set up discount codes with your special packages. Another thing that's cool about Brilliant, and some softwares offer it, some it's not as intuitive, but I love Brilliant in the fact that they do zoning. So you can create zones, but just by dragging a circle around a particular area. And so if you have teams or you have independent contractors that are in a certain zone, one of the things that makes it really easy is if you have, let's say somebody canceled for the day, one of your employees or one of your independent contractors, you can look in that zone and see who else works in that zone or that neighborhood. And you can drag somebody from another area and say, hey, do you have time today to run over and check on this job? Or can you run over and finish this job? Somebody just had a family emergency. And so it allows you to keep people inside the same geographical location. You can also take a look at your calendar at a glance. And so I love the fact that it allows you to do that, because you can then categorize your calendar by individual, by teams, or by neighborhoods. So I want to stop for just a second. We're not going to go through all the different softwares, but I want you to take a look at all the different options that are available. Each is going to be different based on where you are in your business. So if, for example, you are working with independent contractors, your ability to have teams is not going to be as important, for example. So that software might not be quite what you're looking for. But if you go through the different softwares that I showed you, whether it's House Call Pro, whether it's Brilliant, it's Service Autopilot, Jobber, ZenMate, whatever, there are a whole bunch of really good softwares. And my suggestion is that you find one that works for you. And really, you want to spend a little bit of time, probably a week or two. And this is going to be one of those where it's not going to be easy in the beginning to set up. It's going to take you an hour probably on each one of the softwares. It's going to be an exercise, but I recommend that you do it, because once you find a good one that works for you, it will save you countless hours on the other end. So there is an initial setup. You have to do it, and then it will save you hours. If you hire somebody and you train them to do your admin stuff, you're going to train them anyway. You're going to spend that time anyway. You're going to spend the expense anyway trying to figure out how to get it all set up. Once it's set up, you turn it on autopilot and you're off to the races. Okay. So we want to make sure that you have some kind of a program that you're using and that you use it regularly. But the customer service or the customer relationship management program is gold. It's gold for the reason that once you have all the information, you can transfer that really quickly over to any other program. All right. Let's jump over real quick to Google. And again, all of you have Google. Okay, all of you have Google. It's free. So what I want to show you is I want to show the scheduling element, because you can incorporate this concept into any of the softwares we just talked about. And I will leave links in the notes to all the different softwares that are available so that you can access them and you can play around with them and you can contact them. Like I said, most of them have a free trial. And I recommend before you buy, because I'm one of these people, I'm like, oh, that looks good. I'll just sign up for it. And I get really excited and I want to unlock all the features. and I'll just pay for a year. But the reality is it's probably not right. It might not be quite right for you, or it might not be quite intuitive. So find one that really speaks to you and you're like, yes, this is it. Ask your friends, go to the Facebook groups, ask your friends, hey, who's using the software? What's your experience? Do you love it? What do you like best about it? Does it do this? Does it do that? Go to the customer service website. Most people have like a support section for their website, and they'll answer a lot of frequently asked questions. Go to YouTube, look at their YouTube tutorials. I mean, really dig in before you sign up, even if it's inexpensive. Really find out if it's going to do exactly what you want it to do. Okay. But what I want to show you right now is I want to show you a basic day on a calendar for a solo operator. And then we'll talk about how you integrate teams and how you integrate independent contractors and all of those things to kind of autopilot that as well. Do we have any questions or any comments on the software that is available to schedule your cleaning business? Questions. All right. I'm going to jump over to the calendar because I want to show you a mock-up calendar of what a cleaning business might look like in a regular cleaner's day. And I get this question a lot. This is a common question that comes in a lot. So we'll take a look at this. And I want to share my screen. I want to share my Google Calendar. There it is. Ta-da! Okay, cool. There's my calendar. Yay. I just love Google. All these free tools that make our lives so easy. And when I started my cleaning business, it was all on paper. And then somebody would make a change, and then I would literally have to print up my new calendar at home because they made a change. And now you just drag and drop. All right, what we're looking at here is a calendar. And you'll see that over on the side, there are a whole bunch of calendars, and you can have as many calendars as you want. So if you're not using Google Calendar, go up to the little 9 dots up in the corner, click on it, go down to calendar, click on a calendar, and make it a new calendar. I call this IC calendar, and this stands for independent contractor. And this is going to be for August of 2024. Now, what you're seeing right now, let me see if I can. It's probably as big as I can make it. What you're seeing right now is you're seeing that on Monday, I have 3 appointments. And the first one starts at 8 a.m. and we'll open it up and take a look at it. This is Harris. The client's name is Harris. They live at 1410 Azteca Loop. And the yellow means Azteca Loop. So at a glance on my calendar, I can see that all of these people are on Azteca Loop. And you'll notice that I have 3 appointments on Monday, and I have those exact same 3 appointments 2 weeks from right now. Why I love this is because if I'm working on a walkthrough, I'm working with a customer trying to find them a date on the calendar, I can look really quickly at this calendar at a glance on my smartphone. And because it's on my smartphone, what I can do is I can jump to my calendar. Again, it's free. Anyone has access to this. And I can say, looking at my schedule right now, and I'm bidding the job in Azteca Loop. Okay. So let's say that I'm on a walkthrough right now in Azteca Loop. I can see that Monday is the day for me to be there. I can also see that over on Wednesday, I can also be on Azteca Loop because I see the yellow again. And in this calendar, I've color coded my neighborhoods by colors. So I know that I'm going to be there Monday, and I know that I'm going to be there Wednesday. Well, what do I know? I know that I can't sell any slots if I'm a solo operator. I can't sell any slots for Monday the 29th, which was 2 days ago, or coming up on the 12th. I can't because I'm booked through those times, right? I have those same appointments every 2 weeks. So I don't have any openings at all. But if I want an 8 o'clock appointment, I know that I can be in Azteca Loop on Wednesday, the 31st, which is today, or I will be there again 2 weeks from today. I have an opening. So what I want to do is I want to schedule. I don't want to make any new schedules. Don't want to sign up anybody new for any random days because I'm only on Azteca Loop on Mondays and Wednesdays of the same week. And on the other weeks, I have those open to different neighborhoods. So right now you see that I have no openings on the 5th and on the 19th. I'm going to keep that open for a new neighborhood. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to push this new customer. I'm bidding the job right now on Azteca Loop. I'm going to try to push this customer to 8 a.m. on a Wednesday because I have an opening 8 a.m. on a Wednesday that nobody's taken yet. You see how that works? So when I'm talking to a customer and they say, hey, I'd really like Friday. I look over on Friday, I can click on that really quick and I can say, I'm in the Glenbrook neighborhood on Friday. I'm not on Azteca Loop. So I can't be there at 8 a.m. on Friday because I know that immediately following, I'm going to be in Glenbrook. I want to go bid a job in Glenbrook so that I can block that 8 o'clock slot in Glenbrook. You see how that works? Let's go back for a second to the 12th. I'm looking at the 12th, Monday the 12th, and on the 12th, I'm in Azteca Loop at 8 a.m., and all of these are small villas, okay? These are all like 1 or 2 bedroom homes. They're all small, but we have a 2.5-hour window for each of these 3 appointments. So one person can do 3 of these homes back to back to back with a 15-minute window in between each for a quick lunch break, and then literally they're walking 2 doors down, or they're walking across the street, or they're walking around the corner because it's a loop. And we have 3, one from 8 o'clock until 10:30. The next one is from 10:45 to 1:15. And that's this one here on Azteca Loop. And then we have one at 1:30 from 1:30 to 4. So somebody's going to work from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and they're going to do 3 homes in this neighborhood. All right, what we know about this on this day is I have Allison on Bradford Loop. She must live next to Jennifer. We have her on that same day. So what does this tell me? This tells me this is a one-off customer, and I clicked on it. It's just one-off cleaning. You see that right there, one-off cleaning. These are notes I made to myself. I'm going to try to find an independent contractor that can pick up this one-off cleaning because I'm not actually able to do it. If I'm a solo operator, my schedule is full, 8 a.m., 10:45, and at that same 10:45, we've got a one-off cleaning. So what I have to do is I have to put this up on my board and say, hey, this is available to me if I'm going to have an independent contractor work with me to take that day. What I also know is I could book her on a different day. Now, if I go back to my schedule, if I look at my schedule, I have a Bradford loop that's on the 6th, which is on a Tuesday. And I can look down here and I can see that every Tuesday I do Bradford. So here's Stevens on Bradford loop, and they're from 8 until 10:30. I have a 10:45 with the close at 10:45 to 1:15 p.m. So I can't really do Allison during that time, but maybe I could bump her to my 1:30 appointment, right? So if I was going to call up Allison and say, hey, something came up, or if I'm booking the appointment right now and I'm doing the walkthrough, what I'm looking for is, can I put her in a 1:30 slot right here on the 6th as a one-off customer? And if she says, yes, that's fine, we're going to drag that, literally just drag it over there and drop it off. And when I click on that, I'm going to change the time because she said yes to the 1:30. So she's no longer 10:45. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to scroll down here to 1:30. And now it just bumped it to 4 p.m. because I said all my appointments were 2.5 hours. I only have 2.5 hours for this slot. And so I'm not selling based on the amount of the house. I'm selling based on what are my capabilities during a 2.5-hour window, because that's the only time slot that I have. And so I know I can fit a house of this size, pretty much any one of these houses, in a 2.5-hour window. So if that's true and I book her, it automatically, do you see how quickly it automatically changed? And if she's still a one-off cleaning, I see this down here, and I'm using my Savvy Cleaner checklist, which is my notes here. Her dog's name is still Albie, and that's a lab. That didn't change. But instead of me having an independent contractor now, because I moved her to a date when I'm in that neighborhood, I now can do that job. So I don't have to hire any new person. I don't have to have an independent contractor jump in. I can do that myself because now I changed her to one of my available time slots. When I hit save, it's going to say, do you want to save that one event, or do you want to save all the events? And it didn't ask me because it was only a one-off event. It wasn't set up to recur. But let's say that I go to her house And she says, "Oh, you did an amazing job. Thank you so much. I would love to have you come back again. I changed my mind. I want to hire you on a biweekly basis." I go, "That's awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. What do I know?" What I know is, looking at my schedule, I have Stevens at Bradford Loop. I have close at 10:45 on Bradford Loop. I can do Allison at the same time in 2 weeks from now, right? So my goal is, can I put a customer, even if it's a one-off customer, can I put them in a time slot that would work on a regular recurring basis if they're open to it? Because if my audition, if my job that at my house cleaning is my audition and they love my work and they want to hire me back, because here's the thing, who needs their house only cleaned once? Some people don't have the money and they only need it. They can only afford to have it cleaned once. But if they have the money, they need their house cleaned every week or every other week. We know that for a fact, right? People's homes, just like you got to take a shower every day or every, it's the same thing. Your house gets dirty again and you got to do it again and again and again. So if I can put the Allisons in a regular recurring slot, watch this. I click on her appointment. I click on the edit button and I go in and it just says does not repeat. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to say custom. It does repeat and it occurs every 2 weeks on that same day. And so I'm going to end that on November 5th of 2024. So now that I've cleaned for her, now that she's seen my work, I'm going to change her to a regular recurring customer. So I'm going to do save. And now it saved, but it put her now in all the slots. And now we're in September. There she is again. Allison in September, Allison again. So just like that, I went ahead and I blocked my my schedule so that she was able to have me come back week after week after week. Now, on the other weeks, on the weeks that's not Bradford Loop, what do we know? We have a different setup. Now check this out. I have 2 that are in Santo Domingo. I have 2 customers for the same time in Santo Domingo. What does that tell me? That tells me I have to either hire somebody to do this one, or I have to change this time. I can't do 2 people at the same time because they live in 2 different houses. If I'm a solo entrepreneur, I can only do one of those houses. So then one of these, and I would pick the one that I want to clean the least, and I would put that up on my board for independent contractors. So how we do that is we go over here, we create a new calendar, and we just make a brand new calendar, like, hey, create a new calendar. When you create a new calendar, you can share it with whoever you want. Now, if I click on the IC calendar over here, I click on the 3 dots next to this, it says settings and sharing. So I go to settings and sharing. This happens to be my independent contractor calendar, but you can name it whatever you want. Let's say this is your IC calendar. What you do is you come down here and you can add people and groups. So if you have independent contractors that you're working with, you might come up with a group. And anybody that's part of that group, you add the group just by adding the email. And it will say, what groups do you have? And it pops up emails and it pops up groups. And when you add somebody there, all of those people are on that calendar. So every week, anybody that you don't want to clean, or if there's a conflict of interest, what you do is you jump back in there. I'm going to click on the back button here. You jump in here and you say, okay, I'm going to give up the Nelsons. And so you go in here and it says, let's click on edit here. What calendar do you want to add them to? Well, you click on this and all of your calendars pop up. And so you say, I want to add them to this calendar. Okay, great. Do you want to add them to that label? Yeah, you can still leave that as a color, but you just added them to a completely different calendar that only those people have access to. So this is how you change the calendars right here. I'm going to change it back to IC calendar. What we also know, and I've got a couple of questions here, and before I answer those, what we also know is that I can leave notes inside my Google Calendar. And the notes that I like to leave are these. For every single customer, I like to leave, is this a biweekly cleaning and is this a recurring customer? Because if I have to give that away to an independent contractor, what I'm telling them is, hey, if you like this job, this is a recurring job for you. If you want to pick this up every week at 10:45 a.m. because I have another job, I can't do it. So if you want to do that, we can create a long-term ongoing working relationship where you can pick up this every week from me. So these are my notes. My other notes in here is that they have a dog that's a German Shepherd named Molly. And so the dog is going to be the same. I'm not telling the independent contractor anything other than giving them information that's going to help them out. When they get to the house, there's a live-in sister. Her name's Annette, and she's recently divorced. And the reason I say that is because I want them to be aware that maybe she is at home, and if she's sad or she's depressed or whatever, that's probably why. And so, not to play therapist or anything, but when you go and you have that information, you can go and say, "Hey, Annette, how you doing today? Everything okay? Cool. I got you in my thoughts," that kind of a thing. And that way you can make conversation and be polite without being intrusive. Also, I like to make a note, are they going to be home? So if I have somebody that's retired, I like to leave a note in here. They're retired and they're at home when you get there. That way people can kind of take a look at the jobs and they can say, wait a second, I don't work well with other people. I do not want to clean a house when there are other people there. And that will determine whether or not your independent contractors pick up a job. They might say, I love working around people. Yes, I can navigate working around anybody. I can work around a whole house full of people. Bring it on. I need the money, right? But those few notes are going to let them know, is there a pet in the home? If they're allergic to pets and their eyes are going to water and they're going to sneeze and it's going to make them miserable for the rest of the day, I want the note to be right here. I don't want an independent contractor to pick up a job for me and then get on the job and find out they're not a good fit at all. And then I was hoping they were going to pick up every other week so that I can go back to my schedule. And lo and behold, I find out they can't work for me at all because there are pets in the house, right? I'm going to discard that. I'm not going to save the change. But this at a glance lets me know really quick what I'm able to do. So if I'm on a walkthrough and I have an opening, let's say that I leave all my Thursdays open for deep cleans. Do you know how we do deep cleans 4 times a year? This allows me to go to a customer's home and maybe I book them in for Monday the 16th, but maybe I book in also on Thursday, they're going to have their first deep clean. And so that allows me right then, I can say, oh yes, Thursday is reserved for deep cleans. Or Thursday, I might take off for my doctor's appointments or my kids in school and they have like PTA meetings or something like that. You can schedule your schedule any way you like. But by having it set up like this, and I love to do this with color coding, because by looking at a glance, I can tell really quickly while I'm bidding a job, while I'm on a walkthrough, even if I'm doing a Zoom walkthrough, I can look really quickly and see where I'm supposed to be at a certain day. And so I'm not going to commute to back and forth between different neighborhoods and all the things because it wastes a lot of time, it wastes a lot of fuel, it's wear and tear on your car, and nobody gets paid for the commute. But by looking at this right now, someone from Glenbrook says, hey, I'd really like for you to come clean my house. I can take a look at this and I can say, yes. As a matter of fact, I have an opening on Thursday and I can do one as early as the 27th if you want to wait a week or two. And I'm not going to book these Friday slots because what we don't know is we don't know that might be another neighborhood altogether. And so as we're building out our business, we want to really limit our offerings to where we're going to be on those days so that we're literally going next door or around the corner or across the street. We want to work in the same geographical location every single time we clean. And so if somebody from Glenbrook says, well, I really would like you to come on Monday, it's possible that I open a new Monday slot over here and we start doing Glenbrook. Let's pretend that they did. And for those of you that have not used Google, let me show you real quick how this goes. We're going to add a date and a time. So the first thing is, what do we know about our schedule? And we'll look at our schedule. Historically, we start at 8 a.m. We have 2.5 slots. And right now we're in an area where all the homes are about the same size. And so if it's a really, really big house, it's going to take more time. And you might have a series of slots that are for big times. These are all small houses. They're all up to 2,500 square feet. They're all 2 or 3 bedroom homes. They all have 2 bathrooms, 1 or 2 car garages. They're all about the same size, okay? So what we're looking at is we have an 8 to 10:30 slot. We have a 10:45 to 1:15 slot. We have a 1:30 to 4 p.m. slot. That allows me to do 3 houses in the course of a day only because we didn't travel. Only because we didn't travel, Okay. So by automating this system, what does this tell me? This tells me I have 3 slots. When a customer says, can you come at 10? We don't have a 10 a.m. slot, but I can come at 10:45. You see how that works? They didn't dictate my schedule. I dictated to them. I told them when I could come. Can you come in the afternoon? My kid is sleeping until 2 o'clock. We have a slot that starts at 1:30 p.m. Can you adjust your kid's sleep schedule so that we can be there at 1:30? Or we can be there at 1:30. We can be quiet and do all of the scrubbing stuff in the bathrooms or whatever, and not run the vacuum until 2 p.m. Does that work? Or we can come early and do an 8 o'clock in the morning after your kid is already up and out the door to daycare for the day. But you know that your slots start at 8 a.m., they start at 10:45, they start at 1:30. So if you're going to add a new Glenbrook and it has to be on a Monday, great, that's fine. What do we know? Our slots start at 8 a.m., they start at 10:45, they start at 1:30. And so by you being really crystal clear about when your schedule starts, you know you're going to be off at 4 p.m. You know you're going to be off at 5 p.m. You're going to be at home when your family gets home from the day or from work or whatever, and you can have your family life. But if you don't plan it, somebody else will. So when I talk about automations and I talk about making a schedule that works for you, I'm talking about making a schedule that works for you because we're automating your life. This is your life. You don't let them dictate the terms. You get to dictate them. Okay. So we're going to go to the 16th. Absolutely. We'll make a program for 8 a.m. The easiest way to do this is we can create one from scratch, but the easiest way to do this is to go in and pick one that starts at 8 a.m. because we know we're going to have this customer come in at 8 a.m. Come in and click the 3 dots and do duplicate. Now you have a whole section in here, and these are the gaps we're going to fill in. All right, so this customer's name is, and I'll pick somebody here from our comments. We'll say it's Maria Pina, okay? So this will be Pina. This will be the client for the day. Maria, I'm picking on you. Hello, and I'm going to get to your questions in just a second. Let's say that we're in the Glenbrook neighborhood, so this becomes Glenbrook. And the house number is what's right here. So let's say the house number is 2545, Glenbrook, okay? Now that's the customer. It's already marked in for 8 o'clock, but the day is different. So what we're doing is we're going to August. We're going to go to the, is it the 12th? I think it was the 12th. We'll correct it if that's not correct. But we're going to go to the 12th. I remember that it was green. So we're going to go to the green so that we're now in the Glenbrook neighborhood. My notes down here. This is a new customer. Maria is going to be a biweekly recurring customer. So I'm going to keep that in there. And does she have a focus, and what is her priority? Well, in her priority, it's going to be dust bunnies. So we're going to say with a focus on dust bunnies. And we're going to be using our regular Savvy Cleaner checklist. Okay, so this is not anything weird or out of the ordinary. This is the same regular maintenance cleaning that we always do. What are we talking about here? Well, let's say the husband is, we'll call him Harris, and he works at, we'll say General Foods. I'm just making this up. And the wife is going to be Maria. I'm making this up also, Maria. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And we'll say the dog's name is Ava. Okay, great. So that will be our information for this particular home. Okay. And so what happens is now when I save this, it's going to say, did you want to save this? Yes, I do. And I saved it for the 12th. Let me see if it appeared on the 12th. So we're back in August right there. There's Pina right there. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to click on this, and it's scheduled for every 2 weeks. So really quickly with one duplicate, what we did is we created Ava right there. She's in Glenbrook, but I meant to do it on the 19th. Remember, because I don't have, or we could go on the 5th. I don't have that to give right there on that day because already Harris is there. So let's drag her to the 19th. And do I want to change this event or all the events? I want to change all the events. Okay. Check it out. I just added her now. I'm in September. It added her every 2 weeks. And now we've gone from Glenbrook on Friday and Monday. So every other Monday we're in Glenbrook, which means I can pick up some more customers that live next to Maria. So I'm going to ask Maria for some referrals when I get to clean her house. I'm also going to ask LaPierre's for some referrals because I now have an open slot on Friday and I have one on Monday, right? Do you see how this works? It becomes a game. It becomes a puzzle game that any of the softwares that you're using can resolve. And so let's say, for example, that I get a call from Maria in an hour and she changes her mind. Oh, I changed my mind. I can't do a Monday. The other slot that I have right now is available is Friday. Can I do Friday the 13th? And she says, yes, I can. Check it out. Check it out. I'm going to drag her over here, drop it off. This event or all following. Okay. Boom. There she is right there. And there she is again. And I can do that because I had a 10:45 and a 1:30. And do you remember how I said we have the exact same slots? So I just freed up my Monday again. And now I can add a different neighborhood, or I can add more Azteca Loop customers, or I can add more, what are these, Santo Domingo customers? Okay. Or I can add more Bradford Loop customers because I now have a whole day. And if I don't fill up that day becomes a day where I can do special projects or I can do deep cleaning. So don't fill up your days with one customer if you don't have to. The first thing that I want you to do is keep as many days open for yourself because you have possibilities. Okay. So if you already have 2 or 3 customers on a particular day, fill in those slots with people that live in that area. And if you have to open a new day, go ahead and open a new day, but only keep those people on that day. And I moved her here. This one didn't move. I think I did a separate one there. That needs to move. All right, but you see the gist of what I'm doing, right? So now I want to answer your questions because I jumped aboard there to show you the Google Calendar. And like I said, Google Calendar is free. It's absolutely free. If you're one person, please use it and get started today. There's no excuse for starting a cleaning business and not having some sort of a system. Google Calendar is free to everyone. Anyone can use it. You can add as many people as you want to it. You can change the colors based on, and I think I showed you how to change the colors. Let me jump back here real quick. And I'll make this big so that you can see it. If I jump back to the calendar, to change a particular neighborhood like this, you click on the 3 dots and no, you click on the edit, you go down here, the colors are right here. You click on the colors and you can add any color for the neighborhood. So you can color code it based on the number of employees, based on the type of employees, based on the crew, based on the neighborhood, I find the neighborhood is best for me because it allows me to keep track really quickly then of the different areas that I'm in. And then also just at a quick glance while I'm closing out with a customer, I can say, hey, let's get you on the schedule really fast. I have these openings. And then I plug them in for the entire year right then. If I'm signing up a contract where I'm getting them on the calendar for the entire year, I'm going to do it right now so that I don't double book anything. And then also I can put their deep cleanings right now on my calendar, which is really super easy because again, it's Google Calendar. It's right there. And I can see at a quick glance, oh, look, I have that Thursday available. I have that Monday available. I can do the deep cleanings right now. And if those days are open and I've kept them open, nothing is recurring on those days. So I can schedule an easy 4 cleanings. And you know how we did like the custom, instead of saying it's every 2 weeks, we can say it's every 4 months. And then boom, it just autofills just like that. And it makes it super easy. And then I can tell really quickly, am I going to be able to do that? Or do I need to outsource that to an independent contractor? Okay. I love this game. It's just awesome. Okay. So Maria says, at what point do you pivot to CRM? When you launch your business, when you grow or hit a certain milestone or number of customers? At what point do you pivot to a CRM? So the CRM is the customer relationship management database. And from day one, when you start a cleaning business, at any point along the way, you're going to have a customer. That customer has a name, and you're going to need certain pieces of information for that customer. The customer might be single, they might be married. If they're married and that other person lives in their house, they have a name. You need to know both people's names. If they have a dog or a cat, you need to know their names because you might be at home with the pet and you might have to call the pet's name. You're going to have a whole bunch of information. So we'll jump over really quickly to the CRM. And Maria says, my apologies if my question was answered already. I joined late. No, it's a great question. But from day one, when you get one customer that picks up the phone and they call you, you want to start tracking that conversation. So let's jump over really quickly, and I will share with you what you want to include in the CRM, because this is incredibly important. Many times we just have a customer's name, we have their phone number, and then we go looking through our text, like what is their text number? Did I send them a text? What is their phone number? I forget where they live. You want to keep it all in one place. And that is the goal and the beauty of having a CRM. Now, right now, most of us have a smartphone. On our smartphones, there's a contact database. This is the same thing, except it's kind of like on steroids, and that you're going to keep a little bit more information. So if I can share this with you, this is super cool. I just love technology. I love hate technology. I'm not very good at it, but I'm learning. All right, so this is my customer relationship management database, and it's shortened to CRM. That's what it stands for. And all of the software that we talked about before are glorified CRMs. And they're glorified because they're also GPS tracking systems, and they also have the ability to accept credit cards, and they do a whole bunch of other things. But the CRM, what we want to keep track of in the CRM is we want to keep track of a bunch of little things. And the little things are the customer's name, the customer's phone number, their email address, because we're going to contact them in the event that there's a cancellation, and that we're going to be able to do a special package for them. We want their physical address because we can't clean their house if we don't know where they live. We also may want to look them up on Zillow or Redfin or one of the apps to see how many bathrooms, how many bedrooms, and see what kind of a house it is, and is it really the size that they told us it was. We want to keep the customer preferences. This is the preferred cleaning times and days. So somebody might say, don't ever come on the weekend. That's not cool. Okay, if I'm going to schedule a deep clean, I don't want to come on a day that's not cool, right? So they might not get their preferred cleaning time, but they might prefer a Friday and we only have a Wednesday available. I might make a note in the event that we ever add an extra day and it's a Friday on one of those off weeks, and I'm able to add them in that neighborhood. I might call them and say, hey, we just had a slot open up on your preferred cleaning day. Keep track of that. Specific cleaning preferences and requirements. Again, if somebody has a child that's taking a nap at a certain time, that's a preference. Don't come before 2 p.m. because my kid is sleeping. That's a preference. We want to make sure that we note that. If we can accommodate it, that's great. If we can't, we want to come as close to it as possible. We want to keep a note on allergies or sensitivities to certain cleaning products. And I can share this particular keep file with any of you that request it. So hit an email. All you guys got an email, hit a reply to that and send me your email. I don't want anybody spamming the thing here because I don't want anybody stealing your email address. But I will send you a copy of this so that you can take a look at it. Notes on allergies. Also communication history. When we are talking to our customers and we are bidding jobs, always ask your customer, this should be one of your questions, what is your preferred method of contact? Do you respond most to text? Do you respond most to phone calls? Do you prefer me sending you an email? You want me to drop by and show up at your door? Like, what's your preference? And then make a note of that, because everybody's a little bit different. Appointments, reminders, and follow-ups. How do they want that? Do they want the SMS? Do they want a note just on the checklist from last time? Do they want you to call them? Like, how do they want to be reminded? What are the details of the job? You also want to make sure that anything that is agreed upon with the customer is inside their file. Did they agree to deep cleanings? Do they have a special request, like don't clean anything in my house except hardwood floors? These are things that have to be communicated to an independent contractor. They have to be communicated to a new hire that you hire. If you have cleaning teams and somebody's filling in for someone else, all this information needs to be shared through your CRM. And so anything that you can keep track of is going to save embarrassment on the other end if you forget to tell somebody and they go in with vacuums and everything and the kid is sleeping until 2 p.m. You don't want that to happen. Okay. So anything you can communicate that will make the life easier. Like for example, we have one customer who has a pit bulls, and the pit bulls literally chewed through a cleaner's shin, and she had to go get stitches. And so that would be really important information to have. Like you have to ring the doorbell and then you have to like back up and you have to wait for somebody to let you in. If you just go in and use the alarm code, you might get chewed apart by a dog. So, uh, but the rules are in place for a reason, right? So anytime you can make it clear, that's great. Quotes and invoices. Did you provide an estimate? Were there quotes that were approved? Did you just sell a whole package at once? Like how does the client pay? What are the appointments? How does the client pay? Do they have regular pay schedule? Are they on auto pay? Are they on auto draft? Do they pay with a credit card? Do they pay in escrow? Like do they write a check? Do they pay cash? All that stuff is important and it's all part of your CRM. So you want to keep track of the neighborhood that the customer lives in. Did they leave you a rating and review? Does this customer love you? Does this customer have a preference as to a particular person that works in your business? There might be somebody that is a really amazing cleaner that they really recommend. There might be somebody that they're like, don't send that person again. We've all had customer service issues where we did business with somebody and we're like, we love all of the people that work for your company except one that wasn't very nice to me. Okay, that can be noted in the person's account, right? We had a personality clash between this customer and this cleaner. And so that needs to be noted. So these are all things that can be kept on file. And then did they sign an agreement? The agreement is that, yes, you can take pictures, before and after pictures of my house or whatever it is. All those things you want to keep track of in your CRM. And all of the CRM programs are available that we talked about. They all will hold CRM information. And so if there's I forget which one it was. I think it's House Call Pro that allows custom fields, and the custom fields will allow you to add something special. So let's say, for example, that you have a mommy's helper package and you want to add that in, and then you want to tag that customer with a particular field. You can also add that in so that it's very specific to that particular customer where there's a particular field. For example, in my CRM at Savvy Cleaner, one of my custom fields would be, are you part of this masterclass series? Because if I'm sending out information, like let's say I'm going to send out this email list, everybody that's on this call right now would get a copy of that because you would be tagged as part of this masterclass. And so if I want to send you something else, like, hey, I just updated this particular list, I want to send it to everybody that's part of the master class because you have that tag. Does that make sense? So the more you can segment your business and the more you can segment your customers by neighborhood, by topic, by service, by priority, that's going to become really important to you because you might have a special package or a special discount, or you might have a special offering, or you might have somebody new that is fantastic at that particular thing. And then you would want to introduce that to those customers that have that tag. So that's the purpose of that. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about email marketing, and email marketing is a really great way to advertise new services, but that comes through the segmenting of your CRM. So when you put your CRM together, start from day one. I mean, literally, I didn't have anything other than was just a regular legal pad when I started my cleaning business. But I kept track of everybody's names, everybody that lives in the house, everybody's names. I want a list of every person's name. And as we go through the walkthrough, I would write down whose room it was. This is Jake's room. This is Megan's room. This is Evan's room. This is whatever. And I would write their names down. And I want to keep track of that because those are members of the family, and that is important to that family. And so when somebody says Evan is getting married, no way, that's so cool. Right? But we know who Evan is. We've been cleaning his room for forever, right? But when you leave a note as a business owner, you can leave a note on the worksheet and say, hey, congratulations to Evan for the soccer game or the piano recital or whatever it is. You can start leaving notes specific to the customers about the customers. And then you recognize them. Oh, my son's coming back from college. You know that's Evan, right? When he comes in, you're like, oh, hey, you must be Evan. I've heard all about you. Okay, so it helps you do your business better when you automate things and you're not reinventing everything day by day by day. You're going to spend a little bit of time right up front and you're going to automate the systems as you go. And once you create a system and you put it in place, another system we use is QuickBooks. We won't have time to talk about QuickBooks today, but QuickBooks is a system that allows you to do your accounting on an automated program so that one day a week when you're doing your accounting sweeps, you sit down, you open up your software, and it's brought everything into one place. And you look through it and you check everything off and you say, yes, 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 yes. Awesome. You hit go. And all of a sudden your bank balances are reconciled. And so instead of you lying awake at night going, where's the money? And did we get paid for this? And did we get paid for that? It's all automated. It's working in the background of your business. And so every single Sunday, no matter what, and I say Sunday, it's Sunday for me. Every single Sunday, you sit down and you do that sweep. And because you do it every Sunday, you know that there's a certain hour on Sunday where no matter what, you're not having picnics, you're not out swimming, you're not watching TV, you're not doing other things. You're sitting down literally doing accounting. It's part of the program that over 30 years, you don't book anything on Sunday during that window because that's your accounting window, right? And because you have the sweeps and because you have the systems in place, you learn to work everything else in your life around your sweeps. And as you sweep into your business, it becomes easy and effortless because you have a program and you have a program in place. And what happens is, like I said, you train the people that are around you to follow the systems. And so, for example, I'm married. I've been married for 22 years, but my husband knows that the sweeps are on Sunday. Nothing interferes with that because that's when I do my accounting sweeps. And there's a time on Tuesday where I have sweeps with my husband. And you're like, what? It's true. But I have a dating sweeps where we have an alignment meeting and we sit down, me and my husband, and he's part of my business. He's not my business partner, but he's part of my business. We sit down, we have an alignment meeting where as a couple, we go through all the different activities of our week. We look at our bills and accounting. We have a prayer list of people that we're praying for this week that we want to send positive vibes to. And then we end that with a dinner and a date night. And so every Tuesday, no matter what, it's on autopilot. And so I look forward to it all during the week. Like this is my date night, right? So you can automate different elements of your life, but the sooner you do it, the easier it becomes. Because after you reach, like I say, a certain window of your life where you're like beyond like 15 years old, nobody plans your life for you anymore. And so people get really depressed and they get really discouraged and they get really stressed out because every single day they're reinventing their whole life from beginning to end. And I don't want you to do that. Running a business is stressful enough that if you will stop reinventing the wheel every single day and you will let the system save you, you'll wake up every day and you'll say, hey, it's time for me to work out. It's time for me to eat. It's time for me to sleep. It's time for me to go to work. It's time for me to whatever. And you do the exact same stuff. Life is boring because it's running on a schedule. But what's really exciting is all the stuff that you infuse into your life on purpose while everything else runs on the back burner in the background. And you don't have to spend all this energy and all this time and all this emotion trying to make it happen. And all the stuff that really doesn't matter. And I say it doesn't matter, like what I wear today, it doesn't really matter because I already wear the same thing. I already have that routine in place. It already works. And so I can get up today and I can infuse new exciting stuff and new hope in whatever I'm doing. And I can focus my energy and my decisions wherever I want because I'm not dragged down by the decision fatigue of reinventing every single day. Dennis has a question. Have you heard or used the scheduling booking software called Booking Koala before? Any unique feature that you like the most and not like about Booking Koala? I'm not familiar with that one, but there are dozens of them that are out there. And my suggestion is if you don't have one, spend the time and do the research because for like $50 a month, literally you can get a piece of software that will automate so many of your tasks. And it's going to save you a whole lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of shuffling around and micromanaging little details that are already in a system. So find a system that works for you, stay with it. And my recommendation is once you pick one, stay with it for about a year. At the end of the year, reevaluate and see if it's still meeting your needs. Go back to their homepage and say, hey, do they offer any new services or features? Are there any others that are offering services and features that I need that this one doesn't have? But once you pick one, stay with it and try to make it work for about a year. And that way you're going to really learn all the ways that you use it. And you're going to learn if there are features that are missing. And if you can go to the manufacturer of the software, because a lot of them are small businesses, like you can just call them up and say, hey, this is missing a feature I'd love to have. I think Jobber created a checklist where you can actually create your checklist that you can then share with your customers and with your cleaning reps, and then also keep on file in the customer service CRM. So find one that works for you and then, give it a try. That's it for today. We've covered a lot of stuff, and we've covered a lot of the ways that we can automate our business. I know there are a lot more ways. Next week, we're going to be talking about inventory, and we'll talk also about ways that we can automate our inventory and ways that we can streamline the process that are not going to make you just wonder like, hey, do I have enough cleaning supplies? And then you overspend or overbuy or any of those things. Again, we're trying to reduce the decision fatigue, and we're trying to bring more life into your business by creating a system that will serve you over and over and over again, so that 10, 15, 20 years down the road, all the systems are in place. Everything is running itself, and you can outsource that to anyone on your team, and they can oversee that area of your business. And then you just give them a thumbs up and say, great job, keep going, All right. We've got one more question, and then we will be done here. When you mentioned putting a job on the board, what are you referring to? And that's a great question. Putting a job on the board goes back to the Google Calendar. So I have created a Google Calendar where I will throw up, let's say that if I have 2 appointments for the same 10:45 a.m., I will throw one of those, the one that I don't want to do the most, I will throw that up on the board, and I will say, hey, I have an availability for a job if somebody wants to pick it up. And in my Business Savvy Cleaner, every Monday, we have a team meeting, and all of our employees and our independent contractors are invited. And so for the employee part that's exclusive for the employees, we meet them first, and then it merges into the independent contractors, because I want the independent contractors to know the employees so they can work together if they need to. And then the independent contractors have access to this particular calendar for independent contractors only. And there are jobs up there and the time slots, and they say, oh, I'm available every Wednesday from 10:45 to 1 p.m. I could totally take that job. And so then somebody will take that off and they say, I want this job. Do you want it one time or do you want it all the times? And if they say I want it all the time, great. I literally had one independent contractor that booked herself every week from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m., 5 days a week. And she was available. And as I'd put the jobs up, she'd take them off the board. But she was available full time. But she didn't want to be an independent. She didn't want to be an employee. So she worked as an independent contractor, and she picked up the jobs every single week. She'd show up every single week and she'd pick up the jobs. But a lot of them were recurring jobs that we gave to her because she was willing to work every week. So that's what I'm referring to when I say put them up on the board. And then by putting them up on the board, and we share the calendar with all the independent contractors, if an independent contractor cannot work a job, they find their own replacement, you don't have to do that. And so again, you've outsourced that to the independent contractors. And because all the information's there, we know who the person's name is, we know their dog, we know we're following the Savvy Cleaner checklist, all the things. Somebody can pick that up and go, I know exactly what to do. So we've made it easy for everybody to work, easy for everybody to share that shift. If somebody can't work the shift, they find their own replacement. And if they, in two times in 1 year, they don't find a replacement and they stand me up on a job, they get removed from the board and from the calendar, and they don't get to work with us anymore. So that's what I'm referring to. All righty, that's it for today. I hope you guys have a great couple of weeks, and we will continue our conversation in our Facebook groups. So until then, thanks again for participating, and we'll see you soon.